right, cool. Here we go. Hey, welcome to the Blackout Tips Podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
And we are live on a Tuesday, ready to go up and give you some podcasts, and find us everywhere that you get podcasts, because that's what we be doing. Of course, the official weapon of the show is
folding chair,
and the unofficial sport,
bullet ball,
and bullet ball extreme banter time.
Can we talk for a minute?
Banter.
Can we talk for a minute?
Banter. Banter.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about?
What you talking about, Karen?
I just have one thing. I went to go get my eyes checked. Shout out to the optometrist. I guess we was talking about the other day. One of my thoughts was like, those systems. And so they do a really, really good job of reminding you, it's been a while since we've seen you. And a lot of their stuff is like,
time to give us some more money.
Yes, do texts and all that stuff. But I appreciate that. And
Me too.
And the thing is, I treat my eyes like I treat my annual, like I treat my mammogram. Those are 3 things that I make sure I do once a year.
Which is interesting because you used to never do it for a long time, and you would insist your eyes were fine and nothing was wrong and you didn't need glasses.
Nope.
And then I'm like, we have this insurance. Why wouldn't you use it just in case? And of course, you found out immediately, you need glasses because as you get older, your eyes deteriorate.
Yes.
The vanity of not having glasses holds a lot of people back from having actual 20/20 vision. So, you've been a part of the 20/20 vision club for a while now. And
yes.
You wear your glasses sometimes.
Yes, I do.
So, yeah, I like to see it.
Yeah, and also it's one of those things to where is like for a lot of people, because your vision, like you said, as you get older, it deteriorates. And I think for some people, they think just because you wear glasses don't mean you're blind. For some people that might be a true statement, but for majority of the people, it just means your sight is off. Either you're nearsighted, farsighted, a little bit of both, or whatever the case may be. Most people aren't like completely
it's
blind.
Vanity, because people get a good eye test when they're like 17, and then they just never go back and they're like, I got 20/20 vision. I'm like, you're 40. You can't read a fucking street sign. Like, you need glasses. There's a reason you're always squinting and shit. It's helpful. And you needed glasses. And the last couple years you've gotten glasses and you picked them out yourself. And I always told you, you was picking like a rookie because you haven't been in this game long. So, I'm proud of you for getting your first 2 glasses. But today, I tell you, next time you got your eyes checked, I will go with you to look at glasses so you can get some like cool glasses. Because, your glasses say a lot about you and you're stuck with them for a year.
Yes.
And a year minimum anyway. And also, like, because your eyesight normally doesn't change that much year to year, you can keep your old glasses as a backup pair, or you can keep wearing them if you like those better. But my point was, you should be branching out in styles every year. Don't get glasses that are the same as the ones you got the year before, because the frames and all that stuff is just the same. It just like you keep getting the same glasses over and over. It's like, nah, mix it up. Then since your vision's only changing a little bit from year to year, you can switch them up with styles, switch them up with outfits, switch them up with stuff you're going to do for the day. And, some of them get transition lenses. Some of them you get blocking the blue light, So this is what I've learned from being in the game since I was like 15. So, this time when you got your glasses, I rode out to you to go shopping for some new glasses. And you picked out some pretty cool frames, which I guess in the audience will get to see in a week or two.
I actually really like my glasses, and the technology, our doctor, as we say, he reminds me so much of Mike Kaplan. And so, he came in, he's very helpful, he answers all my questions, he tell you a bunch of information about your eyes. And then he was saying like they got like a what you call like a new, every time you turn around they could do things to make your eyes sharper. So he was showing me like the new one that they have. I was like, oh wow, oh that's actually even clearer than the ones before. He was like, yes. He was like, we'll do this, and I know I got the transitions and all, the stuff that you don't show the streaks when you're driving. Because I remember I was driving one night. I like, the hell are these streaks in these glasses? No, thank you.
Yeah, we thought about trying Warby Parker, but they don't take our insurance. Now, I'm sure that they're cheaper in general because I've heard they are. And I guess they just do it without you using your insurance. The dude started doing some type of, you can pay for it and then send your insurance the receipt and then see if they'll pay for it. I was like, nah. I'd rather know what my insurance will pay for up front than not.
Right.
But yeah, it was a pretty cool experience. I might look into the Warby Parker thing when it's my turn, but I might just go online and look at their stuff to see if I can figure out what the cost will actually be and if it's any less than what I would get going to like Vision Works or something. But yeah, it was an interesting day.
Yeah, and our insurance is pretty good, so it knocks off like a big cost, like a big chunk, and even with all the special features and all that shit, it still knocked off a good little bit. So, it's one of them things, like you said, I literally, since we've been having insurance, we both been covered. So it's one of them things where, like you say, just something I just never took advantage of, but now I make sure it's in my routine. And I think that's just a prize that I'm one of the few people that, me and you probably some of the few people that come back every single year. I was like, nah, I don't want my eyesight to be gone or fucked up or shit, but I'm like, yeah, I can't see now. And I remember as a little kid, and it reminded me of this, which is another reason why I was like, nah. My mama, she wore glasses and she refused to wear them as like she should. And eventually over time, old school, they got thicker and thicker. She got bifocals. All of a sudden she couldn't see the part of her hair without them. She couldn't see the drive without them, things like that. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna let my eyesight deteriorate. Like it's gonna change, but it shouldn't get to the point where you shouldn't be able to do like basic things, without them, particularly if you didn't have that issue prior to the glasses. And so it was a fun experience. I got to go through and pick and I like bedazzly stuff, like Roger say get your personality. I was like, I'm gonna get my personality, so I'm looking forward to getting them. I'm looking forward to y'all seeing them, and I got all the bells and whistles and shit like that. And I'm glad for insurance because, for some people, I could see why they'd be like, you know what? I'm going to go on down here to the corner store and pick some of these frames because, sometimes you be like, woo, look at that price.
Yeah, glasses are expensive, especially if you get all the shit. Like, a lot of stuff I've been around long enough to know I don't need all of it. So, and especially when I'm coming back the next year for another pair, it's like I don't need every single bell and whistle, but I know you're new to the game and you want to branch out and try all the stuff, so you should. I've tried all the stuff
to see what works for me and what doesn't.
I tried to I don't get the transition lenses most of the time now because I would find that sometimes I go outside and I have the glasses on and it starts getting darker, and then you come in, it takes too long to lighten up and all that stuff. But it's like little stuff like that I had to find out by getting it. And then like once every 4 or 5 years I will get it just to have a pair that has it. So anyway, my banter, the box office. I was told that the box office was bad and that movie was at an all-time low, and because people don't want to see sequels and people don't want to see all these big IP, they want independent small films and they want to go to the theater to see them. And apparently everybody was fucking wrong because the last like month or so we've had Bad Boys, Inside Out 2, and The Quiet Place all go gangbusters at the box office. Still don't think they're gonna be as big as some like they would have been pre-pandemic, but they're still really good. I think the Inside Out 2 might make $1 billion. It might make $1 billion.
I know it's getting up there. That'll be the first of the year, won't it, or close to it? Maybe one of the few of this year.
No, it's just funny that you parsed it that many ways because you was like, I think as you was talking, you realized like, oh wait, I actually don't know.
I don't.
So you was like, I think it's the first only one. No, the one of the few could have been, maybe, possibly.
Maybe. Wait a minute. Before I make a bold statement.
Shooting from the hip over there. I don't know. you could look up the box office on your computer.
I hear poking around. Bold move, Cotton.
Yeah. Yeah, looking at it, worldwide it crossed over $1 billion. So it did just do it, and it is the only movie to cross over $1 billion. Dune Part 2, 700 million. Godzilla Kong, The New Empire, 567 million. Kung Fu Panda is fourth. So yeah, it's just, I was told that, the box office was basically over and people weren't going to see these movies like The Fall Guy and Furiosa Mad Max and all that stuff. And it turns out it looks like people will go see stuff. And just to all the Hollywood critic people that keep writing the same think piece over and over, but people do want sequels, people do want prequels, people do want parts of things that are big IP. It's just if people think, I don't know how to put this simpler, it's just if people think it's gonna be good or not. That's it.
Yeah, if they think it's gonna be good.
It's really that simple.
That's what it was before, but they don't want to admit that either.
Yeah, I don't think movie goers think of things in the way that movie critics think of things.
Nope.
In these big, broad, macro discussions. I think they just go, oh, I saw the trailer for Inside Out 2. I want to go see it. That's it. They don't go, oh God, a sequel. No, sometimes you think that when it's Fast and Furious 12 and you might be like, fuck, I didn't like the last 3. Then you roll your eyes and go, oh my God, I'm tired of sequels. But you're not really tired of sequels. You just don't want to see a bad movie.
Right.
And it just doesn't get more complicated than that. Just make a good movie that people are interested in going to see. And it's still a crapshoot. Because Furiosa, I thought, was a good movie and part of a franchise. People ain't want to go see that shit. What can you do? The Fall Guy, big.
I enjoyed The Fall Guy.
Yeah, big actors, big action budget, all that shit. People just didn't go fuck with it. I don't know what to tell you on those. But just whole there's some type of hardline rule about what will work and what won't work in Hollywood. There isn't one. Just try to make good shit and hopefully it'll come through.
Yeah, and and the thing is, you're talking about the general public, like you said. It's a huge separation between the critics and the general public, and you do need critics for certain things, but also the general public. You're talking about a lot of people with families and shit like this, and for some of them, they go, shit is expensive and I'm not going to go see certain things unless it's worth my time. And during the pandemic, a lot of people upgraded. They upgraded their couches, their TVs, they made themselves comfortable. So they go, in order for me and my family, depend on how many people spend $50 to go to the movies, that shit better be worth it. We not leaving the house for no bullshit.
Anything else for your banter? I got one more thing, and it's just it might be quick, it might be long, I don't know, but I'm seeing the general consensus on social media because right now, every time Supreme Court ends a session, we get all these fucked up rulings, and it reminds everybody who understood the assignment in 2016 of all the motherfuckers who didn't understand the assignment in 2016.
They're still loud and wrong.
Who just blew it off and blamed everybody but themselves. No accountability. And we had to deal with not just 4 years of Trump, but however many years of life these Supreme Court justices have.
Yes.
And it makes people mad, and there's not much you can do about it. So you have to go back. No, you don't have to, but people are going back, finding those people who were very loud and proud to be wrong in 2016, and they are frying them again. Now it's kind of something I was talking to Bomani about. I think Twitter is now a place people go to be angry. Yes it is. It is very rarely a community fun moment. The pop out, those moments don't happen as often. Where everyone's on Twitter and they're having a good time watching the Kendrick Lamar pop out, and you kind of suspend the negativity for a bit. Even if you see something you don't like at the pop out, you kind of suspend it for that night. No, we're having a good time. We're all just having. That's it.
Yeah, you have those moments, but it's a rarity. That was enjoyable. I remember it was me and probably a handful of people when Beyonce did Coachella, because I think she did like 2-3 in the morning, something.
Yeah, it was a lot of people. It wasn't a handful. Beyonce's a big deal.
I mean, yeah, like I said, but it was kind of in the middle of the night, so
here on the East Coast.
Yeah, yeah,
over
that's
there
right.
was still,
Yeah. Here on the East Coast, yeah, and so we actually had a really good time, doing those types of things.
Yeah, it's just very few and far between that we get these moments of like pure like, the brawl in at the dock or whatever.
Yes.
So a lot of it is purposeful misunderstanding. A lot of it is cajoling people. A lot of it is attacking people and wanting to argue and debate people. I'm getting older and I'm more seasoned and I care so much less that I very rarely get into back and forth with people.
Right.
Like it can happen, but it's got to be like a whole lot of shit gotta line up for me to be like, okay, I will talk to this person who disagrees with me, because for the most part it's never worth it, because they don't have any good faith intentions. And I don't mean to be a dick, but we don't mean anything to each other.
Right.
We're so disposable at this point. We're not friends. We're not building relationships and inroads with a lot of these people. They're just a person that click follow. And that's all they just think of you as a content, birthing machine, and you put out the content, and when they don't like the content, they got some shady shit to say. When they like it, you're the greatest, but it's not really about you at all. And I think it's good to accept that as a person that creates, for a living, because then that's how I balance my mental health, to be able to go, okay, this isn't about me, I'm just one person with an opinion. But in these moments, it is infuriating what is happening to the country. It is infuriating partially because it was preventable. And part of the way it was preventable is not by looking at Republicans, not by looking at Democrats as far as the politicians, not by looking at conservative voters, not by looking at Trump voters. It was preventable if everybody who claims to be on the team that they say they are had just done what they're supposed to do.
Right.
We wouldn't be here. It's that simple. And we know it's mostly white women who was the biggest like betrayers of the liberal community and all that type of stuff. I mean, I think that's pretty well documented. White women abandoned ship like at a much higher rate than one would have guessed, and so we ended up with Trump. But there were also people who were very loud and proud to be wrong, and some of them are not white women. So many of them are black people. Many of them still loud and proud to be wrong. Many of them just kind of tucked their tails between their legs and kind of came back to the culture and pretended that they never did that shit. And they want to get paid for their opinions, which, your opinion was wrong as hell in 2016. You said, Susan Sarandon's one of these people. She was like, if we let Trump win, the liberal utopia we gonna get on the back end, it just didn't happen. And so all that stuff to say, I've been seeing people try to carve out the like, hey man, leave the people alone that messed up. Like, okay, so how long, what's the plan? What else can y'all, and I'm gonna tell you right now, dog.
I'm gonna be on your neck.
Tell you right now, dog. Y'all can't be the most grudge holdingest motherfuckers in the world. Like, couldn't even let it go to save the country, and think that all of us that watch y'all be loud. And keep in mind, many of these folks fucked with other people. They don't want to talk about it now because they spent the last how many years like ducking.
Yes.
But they was out here antagonizing folks. It wasn't just a matter of like, this is my opinion. It was, why the fuck are y'all voting? Like, it was that kind of thing.
Yes. Don't pressure me. Don't tell me I need to vote. Act like we was the motherfucking fools for voting.
It's like a motherfucker that lost a fight being like, why y'all ain't letting it go? It's like, because we ain't forgot the way that you claim to have not forgot. The way that you, and we know that the second everybody's off y'all neck, y'all will do it again.
Yes.
Or y'all pretend that it was someone else's fault. And so I think, if it don't apply, let it fly. If you voted and you wasn't part of that, I don't know what the fucking problem is. Move on. It ain't about you. But it's a lot of motherfuckers that still catching that smoke that really still need it. And so I just think it's the supreme irony that people that literally kept refusing to vote because they can't let shit go, telling everybody else, why can't y'all let shit go? Because you know why? Because the consequences of what you did or didn't do while pretending to be more high-minded than everybody, the consequences are hitting everybody in the face. So if we're going to have that empathy and humanity that people want for the side of the like, hey, that was a long time ago, let it go, we just it's not our fault, cool. If that's how you feel, cool. Then have empathy for the fact that when people wake up every morning and see another right taken away, and they're furious and there's not much they can do about it until it's time to vote, the one thing that y'all didn't want to do, maybe you hop off the internet then, or maybe you don't take it personal, or maybe you say they're very angry and upset and sad. Honestly, they're sad.
They're sad.
Anger is sadness with no place to go, and just have understanding that they're
hurt.
gonna be sad and they're gonna be hurt. Let that happen. We're all sharing the same internet space, and this is the news of the day. I don't know what you expect people to see to go, oh man, I guess Trump's getting immunity because of the two justices he got to elect because people fucked off 2016. Well, hey, you know what? Just another day. Not gonna get mad about it. That was a long time ago. No, that's not how it works, and that's not how that works. Motherfuckers were mad about the 92 crime bill and stuff in 2020 and 2016. It's not about, no one's letting things go, and so you don't get to have monopoly on holding a grudge. When you're part of the problem too. All right, that's it. I just wanted to get that off my chiz ass. Let's get into the go ahead. I'm sorry.
No problem. And I 100% agree with this. It, like you said, it's one of them things where people are gonna be on your neck, and that's something that you're gonna have to decide. Do you want to deal with this, or do you not want to deal with it? Like, nobody told you, nobody made you voice your opinion, nobody told you, made you, nor forced you to come out on the internet and do these things. And now, if what you did only impacted you, I wouldn't have a problem at all. But what you did impacts me now. So your actions does impact me. So people are going to have opinions about the shit that you do that directly impact them, that they don't have any control over the consequences of it. Like that's just being very realistic about it. And like you say, every time these rulings come out, they're going to be on your ass, because they're going to remember, they're going to dig down through your tweets. They're going to, is this you, this you, this you, this you, this you, this you. Every time this happens, because they are like, bitch, we're here because of you. And like you say, it's a lot of sadness, a lot of anger, a lot of people being hurt, and they're looking at you. And a lot of it is like, you don't want to accept accountability nor responsibility. A lot of people have never apologized. A lot of these people have never backed down. A lot of people are still saying the same shit and act like people don't see you, like your tune hadn't changed, and you still as loud, and some of you are louder than you were before, and you just expect people to just let that go. And people are like, I'm not gonna let it go because you won't shut the fuck up. And for some of them, they've actually completely got off social media. For some of them, they don't even talk about politics. They stepped out the ring like they do. They living that they living my best life. Like they never participated in it whatsoever. And so people remember that. And so anytime you come up or you pop up or you show your face, people are gonna have smoke for you.
Yeah, it is what it is. But like I said, I think people are trying to skip over folks being upset right now. And if you weren't part of the solution, you was part of the problem, and you just got to deal with it. Is my thing that's so funny is that motherfuckers was acting like they wanted to smoke in 2016. Like, yes, this is what I want to happen. It's y'all fault, and da. And then when everybody turned around and said, wait, so you're saying you're responsible for this? Oh, no. I don't know. It's everyone else's fault, not mine at all. I had nothing to do with this.
We're a small percentage, particularly a lot of black people. We're a small percentage population. Well, bitch, what are you talking about?
Well, even if you say, I don't think black people, like, I wouldn't listen to anyone that said black people were to blame for Hillary Clinton losing. I wouldn't listen to anyone that said that, because we know the exit polls, we know what the numbers were, and we know the percentages. But, and this is a fundamental point, because people do say that to kind of dodge the point, but
yes,
if a black person did something that I thought was stupid, they don't get a pass for being black.
Nope.
So meaning that if a black person tells me the same thing that some white person that was like, I'm gonna throw my vote away, and I would be like, well, I'm mad at the white guy. Black people know. I don't work that way when it comes to that. I'm like, well, that's a dumb thing to do. You just happen to be a black person doing a dumb thing. It is dumb for black people to throw their votes away, and I feel the same way when I see a Bernie bro say that shit, or when I see, you know, some libertarian guy. Like we have basically two choices. You chose to abdicate, and I don't have to respect that. It doesn't matter what your race is. You don't have to respect that I vote, but you know, one of us getting our feelings hurt, and the other one is like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah, and also it's one of those things where, like you said, it's a control thing. You want to control how I feel, and you can't control how I feel. You know, just like I can't control how you feel. Like you want to be the arbiter of going out online and just blasting everybody and all that shit, but you don't want it coming back at you. And it don't work like that. You just like nobody control you, but then you can't control people coming at you the reverse way.
Yeah, it is what it is. All right, let's move into some other news. You know what? Let's do some LGBTQ news. I always had the damnedest time. There we go.
Let me see what you want to be. You better move your body. You better move your feet. And I want to groove. Show me what's cool. Riding, caring, baby. LGBTQ news.
I try to take us down, but we still around. We lit. I try to steal a shine, but we on the ride. We lit. But you can't do what we about to do. We lit. Black guy, tips.
LGBTQ news.
Joe Biden and Elton John dedicate historic visitor center at Stonewall National Monument. On Friday, President Joe Biden joined out musician Elton John and a parade of LGBTQ plus activists and allies to dedicate a new visitor center at the Stonewall National Monument in New York. The National Park Service Monument in Greenwich Village at the site of the 1969 Stonewall Uprising is the first in the country honoring LGBTQ plus people. To this day, Stonewall remains a symbol of the legacy and leadership of the LGBTQ plus community, especially trans women of color, who for generations have been at the forefront of helping realize the promise of America for all Americans, Biden told a cheering crowd at the event. All right, whoever wrote that, shout out to you. You made sure to got black trans women up front. Or trans women of color, I guess in this case. The heart of this movement was ignited, and the course of history was changed forever, Biden said, talking about the uprising. So yeah, I guess I want to highlight this just to say, like, it's more than just Biden on the ballot, but if we lose out on Joe Biden for Donald Trump, we lose out on this too, because having a powerful advocate in the White House that not only cares about this but cares enough to get the words right, to show up in person, we will be replacing this with the exact opposite. You know, we'll be replacing this with someone whose not only heart isn't in the right place, but whose policies will be in the opposite place. And I think, man, I really hope people understand how significant this is, because 4 years of Trump's constant, like, get these trans people out the military, all these laws and bills against trans children and stuff like that, it is very disheartening, and we know the effect it has when it comes to people dying by suicide. And yet I think there's people will look at Democrats for what they can't do or haven't done or didn't do well enough, and there's not enough times where we stop and go, oh yeah, this is a thing that if we don't have these moments, it is missed. Now, you might be going to yourself, oh, this is like an anecdotal thing, like, okay, so he's dedicated or whatever the fuck, that doesn't do anything really for anybody. I hear what you're saying. It's a symbolic thing. I think symbolism does help, but did you know this, Karen? Pro LGBTQ plus laws boost queer people's mental health.
That makes sense. Any marginalized group, if you pass laws to benefit them. I don't know the statistics, but in the states where they passed the Crown Law, I guarantee you more people's, mental health got boosted, because I can walk into my job and they can't fire me because I decided to wear my fro today or put some puffs on or things that's, my hair ain't flowing down my back, and they can't force me to change my hair because it quote unquote don't look professional.
And I'd say, this thing seems obvious, right? It seems pretty, like, you don't need to be a scholar to know this, but I'd love when people track it. The ACLU tracked over 520 anti-LGBTQ plus bills this year alone, because that's how much this legislation has skyrocketed in the last few years. But I think especially after Roe v. Wade was overturned, they're looking for another scapegoat to mobilize the white Christian nationalist movement. And what's easier than scary trans kids and gay people coming for your children and shit. Studies have shown that these bills are more likely to harm mental health of the LGBTQ plus people, including especially children. But in a story from ABC News, a gay man is speaking out about how laws that protect the rights of gay Americans can have the opposite effect. Stone Stahl was one of those interviewed. He grew up as a gay man in suburban Ohio and watched Ohio lawmakers introduce and pass anti-LGBTQ plus legislation. He felt like he couldn't be his true self. So then it's like a lot of personal stuff from just like his point of view. But the study, the study backs up his experience. In 2018, a study found that men who belong to sexual minorities were more likely to report poor/fair health in states with limited protections compared to their heterosexual counterparts. However, the same study found no difference among sexual minority women and heterosexual women. Likewise, a study of transgender veterans from 2016 found that those living in states with employment non-discrimination protections were 26% less likely to have mood disorders and 43% less likely to practice self-harm. Yeah, and I don't mean to bang on Bernie on this, but I have to bang a little bit. When Bernie and his folks say stuff like, this is not an economic issue, this is an issue about identity politics. And they say it about anything that's not white people oriented.
Right.
And what I always have to remind people is that no, the identity politics is economics for the identity of the person. So when you're saying there's states that allow discrimination, that is employment, that is money, that is financial,
housing.
Right. So you're talking about my ability to move in and out this economy. You can regulate or try to get things good for the economy or whatever you say about poor people, but if you don't specifically drill down far enough to go, but even if we do that and allow people to discriminate against LGBTQ people, then the LGBTQ people will not benefit from the economy that we talked about. And it goes to all things, but I just want to point it out in this specific instance, because you're talking about employment, that is a money thing. Now, as far as the self-harm thing, you think that should be motivation enough. Is, hey, 43% less likely to commit self-harm, to practice self-harm, if you're in a state that doesn't discriminate, or at least has laws that are anti-discrimination. It seems pretty fucking simple. And I also should tell you that when these laws are passed, the anti-LGBTQ laws, that it's intentional. That is the result that these people want. They want people feeling anxiety. They want them underemployed. They want them harming themselves, because essentially what they're saying is you need to fold exactly into heteronormative standards or do not fucking be in this state.
Right.
Period. Go back into the closet or we're gonna make your life worse. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting, and hopefully people don't see that as a message of leave the state, which I understand, but I hope the people that live in those states see it as a message of we need to change this. There should be no state like this. What do we need to do to change that? Let's see. Speaking of politics, conservatives are worried that the GOP platform won't oppose marriage equality and trans rights this year. Yeah, part of that is because Donald Trump doesn't really seem like he gives a fuck about any certain like standard of policies, and he lies all the time, and he'll say whatever is convenient in the moment.
Yes,
so there's
he
been
do.
times when he's been staunchly anti-abortion and then staunchly like, oh, we should just whatever.
He swings with the crowd.
Right. And so of course people that are lifelong bigots and dedicated to hating LGBTQ people, they don't like when he flip-flops into like, I don't really care that much about this gay stuff, whatever. They're like, no, you need to care. And they're worried that this won't be a talking point that will rally the Christian nationalists to vote for Trump. Now, I think they might be worried too much, because I feel like the white Christian nationalists are in for a penny, in for a pound.
Yeah, they are. They ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, where else are they gonna do? I can't imagine them not voting. We're not hearing anything about them not voting. I think they know that, much like Biden, Trump, who is also old and slipping and all that stuff, he's just a symbol for getting the power of the office. They aren't beholden to him any more than we're beholden to Biden in that way.
Agreed.
Except that, they're more likely to see it through as opposed to like the lily-livered, liberal people of America, who often wuss out at the end and go, I just didn't feel right. And it's like, well, they felt fine. They put this
all
motherfucker
the
up
way
there.
to the end.
But yeah, the talk of changing the Republican Party's pro-life platform is deeply concerning for pro-life Americans across the country, said Tim Chapman, incoming president of the conservative organization Advancing American Freedom. He told ABC News he worries that a call for an abortion ban won't appear in the 2024 GOP platform. The current National Republican Party platform, as it appears on the party's website, is 60 pages long and contains numerous passages highlighting the party's opposition to rights for historically oppressed groups. The Trump campaign is rumored to be pushing for a paring down of the document to ensure our policy commitments to the American people are easily digestible. At least they covering some infighting on their part, because we don't normally hear anything about this. But yeah, they want him to be like, it's not good enough that Roe v. Wade went back to the states. We want to ban all abortion everywhere.
Yes, that's been their goal.
Yeah, they're not done. And I think we're falling into it again. I think the way I hear people talking, a lot of people, they don't say it. They act like they understand, but they don't really understand. They really think it can't get worse.
Yeah.
They really think that they really think that we're not 2-3 years away from like no one can get an abortion in America, period. No IVF for no one,
birth
period.
control.
Yeah, no birth control, period. They think that we're not gonna get there because they like, well, we would never let that happen. But the nihilism or whatever what do you call it when you don't want to do something? Whatever the thing that makes you like, I'm gonna stay home. That's apathy. The apathy it can make it possible for all this shit to happen, because there's a willful force that's not giving up.
Yeah, and it's very simple to me. I will say this, and I've always said this: the goal is slavery, and when I say that, I'm talking about slavery to being finances, slavery to not having a home, slavery to being forced to have children. It all boils back down to slavery. And when I mean slavery, taking away your choice, taking away your rights, like they want to strip people of these things so that you can't fight back. Because you know what? When you got to work 2 or 3 jobs, guess what? You ain't got time to fight in the street. Guess, when you have these when you just trying to survive, you can't protest. You can't do these things. You can't meet up. You can't be at the PTA. You can't be at the, all these things. We're just trying to survive, and you're just trying to make it through. And, that's why they want people to have, low paying wage jobs where they barely can make it and barely can survive, and then pass laws that say, like, if you get to the point where if you're homeless, we got the right to arrest your ass and put you in jail. Ain't nothing you can do about it. And when they get you in jail, you basically are cheap free labor, and that's why I said at the end of the day, the goal is slavery, and once you understand that, you will understand all the motivation and everything. A slave has no rights, a slave has no choice, a slave has no voice, a slave just has to do whatever their master tells them to do. A slave doesn't have a right to challenge. A slave, you can't do anything, and that's how they want the people so tied up, so bogged down, their minds so fucked up that they can't focus on anything else but the terribleness in their own lives and in their own homes. They won't have compassion for anybody around them. They won't have sympathy for anybody around them, because they're just so wrapped up in their own little world that they don't see not only is your house burning down, everybody else's house is burning down too, but they want you to be so concerned about your own, putting out your own house fire, that you don't realize the whole goddamn neighborhood is on fire. And if we all pitch together, we can do something. But people are so focused on their individual thing that they don't realize that guess what, if we all go get a bucket, we can put this out. But if I'm just getting the bucket and you just sitting doing nothing, and all of a sudden, let's say I do put my house out, because you didn't put yours out, mine catches on fire again. So we all impact each other in this process. And so I believed it could get worse. I've always believed it could get worse. No matter how deep you think this hole can go, it can go worse. No matter what you think's happening, it could go worse. Because at the end of the day, the thing is, they want people not to have jobs. They want people not to have food. They want people. And the thing is, a lot of people, even a lot of black and brown people that are well off, they have fooled themselves to think they are above these things. They're not. People across the country that are in these states where they think they're safe, you are not. Because guess what? White people are all across this country. And you know what? I've been up north in all these places. They got Confederate flags in all 50 states. All of them, y'all. So that means that these people are out there and they're quote unquote quiet because they have not had a chance to rise up. But you let them have a chance to rise up, and you will find out wherever you at. You be like, God damn, where did y'all come from? Out in Timbuktu in your state. We been here the whole time, but we were quiet because we couldn't say nothing, and the laws protected you. And when the laws don't protect you no more, they're gonna come out.
You know what's interesting is that there's no place safe, and it's delusion. Like I said, people think things can't get worse, but you think of some of the places where black people are at in the states that are blue, in the cities that are blue. How many of us really feel safe? I was in New York City. That's the home of Stop and Frisk. That's the home of Eric Adams. That's where they beat up protesters. Like, it ain't safe.
They have,
and you can go all the way back to like Civil War times and shit like that, when black people left the South and went up north, and there was a draft essentially saying, hey, white dudes, because we won't allow black people to serve at this time, y'all got to go fight in the war and die for black people's freedom, essentially, for the end of slavery. And the white people didn't want to do that. You know what happened? They went and killed a bunch of black people in New York. That's New York City. That, like, it was happening then, it's happening now. Like, no place is safe. People just fool themselves into feeling like it's gonna be different or something, and it's turned to a different thing. I didn't want this segment to turn to, but just in general, you have to keep fighting, because it's never over, and there is no safe. There is no we won. It's always a fight, and I think some people just don't like that there's never a true feel-good victory, like it's the end of a movie. But all you're doing is running a never-ending relay race, and we're passing on the baton to the next generation of people that hopefully will continue to fight and improve things. So I hate, that this, I honestly hate this segment turns into this every time, because I want to concentrate strictly on like this news, but it's impossible to talk about the news, especially in light of these news. I would feel irresponsible talking about this segment and not bringing up the obvious impact that our votes or lack of voting has on these issues. The last story, two more stories. This one and one more.
Okay.
A MAGA pastor says the 10 Commandments in schools will stop teachers from raping kids.
That's not how that works.
He said this will ensure teachers are not going to be raping kids anymore. Of course, he claims LGBTQ plus people and allies are sexualizing and grooming children for sex abuse. And of course, it ignores the thousands of cases of child sex abuse that have occurred in Catholic and Baptist churches since 2000, most of which have been covered up by church leadership, despite the Ten Commandments being widely available in Christian houses of worship.
Posted everywhere.
Right. They just sound so fucking dumb. And the thing is, like, you do realize that you're talking about sexual assault. People that sexually assault people, I don't know if you know this, they don't care about the rules.
They don't care.
That's kind of the problem, is that you can't just write a rule down that they're like, oh, that it was against the rules? Well, damn. Eggs on my face like that. You know, it's the thing where they're like, well, if you let anyone go in the bathroom, people gonna sexually assault people in the bathroom. It's like, I don't know if y'all know, but people that sexually assault people in bathrooms don't give they don't care about the sign on the outside.
They don't care.
They're like, maybe we should be a little more concerned with something else than the signage.
All right.
They're not like, oh, it's not the Pink Panther music starts playing like, oh, they just changed the sign. Nothing was gonna happen before this.
Right.
But yeah, it just sounds fucking dumb. And then the last story is same-sex couples line up to register under Latvia's new civil union law. You know, can't really gloat too much in America about this because we just had civil unions until like 2014 or some shit. So we ain't too hot. We can't really look
it's
down.
It's still young for us too.
But yeah, they just recently had a new nationwide law that went into effect Monday. So now you can register your civil union at a legal office in the capital of Riga. They did this just after midnight on Monday. Exchanged silver rings at a party at the city's main library with the hopes of replacing them with gold rings if Latvia ever legalizes same-sex marriage. So it's a step forward, but not marriage equality. But just the fact that so many people lined up to get married or to show their support for the law or to, you know, exercise their rights as citizens, like, I think that's dope and hopeful, and I hope that they're able to get marriage equality. I do understand when people are hesitant about this kind of thing where it's like, so what, we're saying LGBTQ people have to basically have heteronormative standards in order to be valuable people? No, we're not saying that. Same way that people that appear to be heteronormative can be in all kinds of different relationships that aren't necessarily seen by the government. But I think the option to love who you want to love out loud and have the same rights that another couple would have just because they're opposite sex or whatever, I think that's worth celebrating, to have those rights. And then that's just a choice. You can choose to exert those rights or not. But I do think it's kind of dope that whenever you see this kind of progress, especially when this whole world seems to be really, really leaning heavily into conservative fascism.
The whole world.
Many countries.
Child, over there in France, they was like, hey, the right wing was like, we about to get some power. I was like, what is happening over there in France? So when they say right wing, like, it's just, it ain't even get to be that. If they describe it, I be like, oh, them sound like some Republicans.
Canada too. Like, it's like a lot of, obviously Brexit, like a lot of these countries, the conservative powers are starting to rise, or at least make some level of a comeback. And I asked that question on my Twitter today. It was like, why is fascism on the rise outside of America? I know I live here, so I know some of the reasons here, but why is it so strong other places? And people, kind of, it's a lot of the same shit that happens here. So, but yeah, it's just, so anyway, when I see some progress, I'm always going to celebrate it. All right, let's move on into some other news. Let's do some, just get into some news. the wake of Supreme Court ruling, Biden administration tells doctors to provide emergency abortions. The Biden administration told emergency room doctors they must perform emergency abortions when necessary to save a pregnant woman's health.
They're like, y'all can't let. It's part of the Hippocratic Oath, ain't it? Or am I
Right.
going crazy?
Right, but of course, a lot of right-wing states have basically penalized doctors and like threaten them with jail sentences. So of course, what do the doctors end up doing? Basically going, well, I can't perform this operation, and people are literally dying. People have died because doctors are like, because if I do perform this operation, I go to jail, and like I'm not gonna go to jail for this.
Right. That's the whole purpose of the laws. Is why they're so vague.
So the Supreme Court failed to settle a dispute over whether state abortion bans override federal law requiring hospitals to provide stabilizing treatment. So the Human Health Services Secretary Xavier Becerra and Centers for Medical and Medicaid Services Director Chiquita Brooks LaSure reminded hospitals of their legal duty to offer stabilizing treatment, which could include abortions. No pregnant woman or her family should have to even begin to worry that she could be denied treatment. She needs to stabilize her emergency medical condition in the emergency room. Right. Pregnancy and birth is stressful enough.
Right.
And then you want to add this legal shit on top of it, where they've actually locked up or attempted to lock up women who have had medical abortions for stuff like this, not like just, or miscarriages even.
And
like,
miscarriage is something your body just naturally does on its own.
Like they're trying to scare all women and all birthing people with this like attack. So it's like, oh God, no. But yeah, I shout out to the Biden administration. Let's see. RFK Jr. apparently did a Vanity Fair profile, and there's a lot of stuff coming out of it that people are like, what the fuck? Now if you saw him and didn't say what the fuck a long time ago,
right.
I'm a little surprised that you're just now getting to it.
He been out there the whole time.
Yeah. RFK texted a photo of him posing with a dead dog. Yeah, and the dog is him and a woman, and the dog is barbecued. The photo was actually taken in 2010, and a veterinarian identified the carcass as a dead dog. The person Kennedy Jr. was texting was reportedly traveling to Asia, and Kennedy Jr. was offering him, possibly joking, a restaurant he might enjoy in Korea. His critics were quick to spread the photo on social media. And yeah, it's just gross looking. I would show it to y'all. It's not like I'm offended by it, but it's like if someone was holding up a chicken that got spatchcocked and like he's acting like he's gonna bite into it, like ah.
Oh no.
Yeah, it just looks really bad and really stupid. He snorted coke worry-free in front of a reporter. So he talked about his early years as an addict. Something.
Well, we were supposed to take him seriously. Like, okay.
Yeah, I guess he did this in 1984. I mean, I'm less the drug use stuff is less salacious to me. I mean, it's obviously wild, but like if I found out any politician did drugs a long time ago, I don't care. To be honest, that's not the deal breaker for me. In front of a reporter is the wild part.
Yes, right. That's what I was like. In front of a reporter,
like you like Obama smoked weed in his dorm room. I'm like, yeah. So didn't a lot of people? Have you been to a dorm room?
He didn't smoking in front of a reporter.
He also smoked cigarettes, but snorting cocaine in front of a reporter is that's up there. A babysitter says she was assaulted by RFK Jr., including late night lotion requests. Her name is Eliza Cooney. She came forward to accuse him of sexual assault while she worked as a part-time babysitter for the family at 23. The then recent college graduate was hired in 1998. She lived in the Kennedy home in New York and also did work at Kennedy Jr.'s environmental law clinic. She accused him of rubbing her leg while they were in a meeting at the home. Later asked her to rub lotion on his back late at night. I have to watch out, be careful. And the other night in the kitchen with Murray, I could have sworn he was touching my leg and hand. It seemed like he thought I was somebody else or wasn't paying attention. Like he could he would come to every once in a while and snap out of it, or I would move away. It was like he was on something or really tired or was missing Mary or was testing me. She wrote in a diary entry. She said one night he was standing shirtless in her bedroom and her diary was open. He asked her to rub lotion on his back. She did reluctantly and quickly. She also said he groped her later while she was in the kitchen. She said another worker walked in and interrupted. His team did not answer the Vanity Fair allegations, but he addressed the allegations in a general fashion in a later interview. Yeah, I think I have that clip of him answering, and I just want y'all to remember this guy is running for president, allegedly. Okay? So someone says, hey, this person said you sexually assaulted them. There are lots of ways to answer this question, right? What kind of answer would you want a president to give? Hopefully a strong denial. Hey, I didn't do that or something, right? Here's his response.
I am not a church boy. I am not running like that. I had a very, very rambunctious youth. I said in my announcement speech that I have so many skeletons in my closet that if they could all vote, I could run for king of the world. Mm-hmm. So, this Vanity Fair is recycling 30-year-old stories, and I'm not, going to comment on the details of any of them, but I am who I am.
You're talking there about the nanny situation. I mean, I do have to ask her. I mean, are you denying it or not?
I'm not going to comment on it.
All right. Well, I gave you the opportunity.
I am not a church.
Oh no.
That was his response.
That's a terrible response.
I'm not a church boy. I'm not a church boy. In addition to all the other reasons he can't be a serious candidate for president, shout out to how dumb does Aaron Rodgers look? That's his man's. Like this is oh man. But yeah, they go on. He was kicked out of a nonprofit for taking a Trump meeting, and his college years included an owl snake and leaping buildings. Yeah, I don't care about those other the thing about the sexual assault and I'm not a church boy is wild.
That's your first response? No, I didn't do that shit.
You can't be president. You can't be president. That is a ridiculous thing. But you know what? Donald Trump, president. He was president. He did it. He said, "I'll grab him by the pussy," and people just let that happen.
Yes, they did.
He lost that civil suit with E. Jean Carroll twice, and people still are going to continue to support and vote for him, showing up to his other trials and stuff, other politicians. So maybe I don't know what I'm talking about, but
I guess not, sir.
I can't imagine a worse way to answer that question.
Terrible.
Nick Cannon says he has insured his testicles for $10 million.
What does that mean? You got life insurance policy on them?
Yeah, famous people do this all the time. Tina Turner had a famous insurance policy on her legs.
Okay. But I've never heard of testicles. That's why I'm looking like, okay, I guess.
Well, I mean, why Tina Turner's legs? What legs? Oh, what? I guess. It's all. I mean, it's all.
I mean, and I guess
why wouldn't he care? He's the father of 12 kids. He says himself, I had to insure my most valuable assets. Because you hear like all these other different celebrities insuring their legs. So I was like, hey, well, I got to insure my most valuable body part.
You got it, sir, then.
Now, my guess is that he's joking.
Because it don't make sense.
Yeah, I think Nick, he's saying, maybe he thought he was being funny and they reported it like it was serious.
Yeah, we
also, I wouldn't put it past him, though. Like, if I saw the policy, I wouldn't be like, what? I'd be like, yeah, that's okay. Nick Cannon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I guess we see your ass set all your kids. So I mean, I get you, but at least we see Tina Turner dance.
Well, we've seen all his kids, so I mean, that's his albums basically. Yeah, but I thought the same thing y'all thought when I saw that headline. The balls on this guy. I always thought Nick Cannon was a little bit nuts. All right, let's move to the next segment.
He's just trying to put us in a sticky situation.
Why not?
Thank you.
Well, it's good. His kids go to private school and not pubic school. All right, that one didn't deserve it. That's not even really. It's not even really the same thing.
No, it's not. At least mine might have been more vague, but at least mine was around the vicinity of the balls.
All right, Karen, you getting a little testes over there. All right. Let's move. Sorry, these jokes are scrotum. Let's move on to the next segment. Let's do. Oh man, let's do some effing with black people. Here we go.
Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people. Fucking with black people.
All right, fucking with black people. Let's do it. Paramount reportedly in talks to sell BET in $1.6 billion buyout led by CEO Scott Mills.
Didn't they try to sell it before? I'm
Yeah.
confused.
But see, I don't know what's true and what's not.
Right.
Because I saw like Tyler Perry was going to buy it, but they didn't want to sell it to him for some reason.
Like, who knows what's true and what's not? Right. Are
Then,
y'all
of course,
really trying to sell it, or y'all you're not trying to fund, you putting BET out there like people do when they do yard sales and be like, nah, I was just kidding.
Right. And then, of course, every black man that gets in trouble is supposed to be trying to buy BET. I don't know. I don't know.
I won't know it till it's official.
Yeah, but I guess this Scott Mills dude looks like a brother. So maybe they're trying to sell it to a black person so people can feel good about that. Because we got to get these reruns of Baby Boy somewhere. Okay. But yeah, trio co-CEOs have publicly said they've hired bankers to evaluate the sale of certain assets. Industry speculation has swirled around BET, which has been the target of acquisition offers in the past. They think they can get $1.6 to $1.7 billion out of it. The buyers that include BET CEO Scott Mills and Chen Chu, founder of private equity firm CC Capital. The BET Media Group comprises the BET cable channel, VH1, and other networks, the BET Plus streaming service, and BET Studios. I didn't know VH1 was included in the BET package.
Me either.
Huh. Kind of makes sense, though.
I was just about to say that. Yes, it kind, because they are in the same lane.
And a lot of the reality content on VH1 definitely veered to black, like very black. All your love and hip hops and you know, even Flavor of Love, I think, which kind of started that. But yeah, I'm not saying VH1 it doesn't feel like BET to me, but it definitely went black in a way MTV just didn't.
Agreed.
But yeah, so they might be selling it. Karen, 0 to 100.
You know what? I'm gonna give this a 75.
Okay, all right. Break it down,
I'm
sis.
somewhat fucked with because the people over this, they just bought a bunch of shit and just selling everything off. It's so irritating to me. It's like, you bought it, figure out what you're gonna do with it. Now, I do understand you're gonna sell stuff, like it's a part of the process, but they are literally like writing shit. Like it doesn't make sense. Like, well, then why did you get into this to make shit as cheap as possible, to sell shit off, to turn around and flip it again? Like it doesn't make sense what you're doing to me. It's like, why did you purchase this? You bought all this shit like you broke, and then you're like, well, let's try to get all our money back.
Okay. As of right now, I feel 0 fucked with. It doesn't sound like it's going into white hands, but it's also like a company, and we'll see what happens with it. I think people always kind of hate on BET anyway. It's just kind of like always the thing to do is to hate on BET. I've never been a BET hater. So I'm not really messed with.
Yeah, because BET has a purpose and a place in the community. And it's one of those things where it's very important. And not trying to find it's gonna take it not existing before people go, well, damn.
Yeah, but right as of right now, I mean, maybe if some more shit comes out where they're like, and they're shutting it down and BET Plus is over, then I would feel bad. But right now, I mean, if it just goes in some other hands, then we'll see what happens. I think it's an impossible thing for BET to win because it just seems like people are so anti-black and anti-BET, and it's hard to tell where the two meet and where people are okay. And I've just not really participated in a lot of that. So let's see. Spice, ironically from like Love and Hip Hop. She's like a Jamaican dancehall artist. And she made like a song about colorism and stuff like that. She's had some pretty insightful things to say about it. She's a dark-skinned woman. I remember once she did a video where it seemed like she bleached her skin, but it was her commentary on colorism. Well, I guess she got interviewed on like a podcast. And let me share the page so that y'all can hear it.
Okay.
But they asked her about, I guess, ethnicity and stuff, because I think Tyler has been big in the news lately. Tyler is the South African light-skinned girl who made that Water song, and she talks about the difference between colored and black, and colored has like a whole different caste and class thing going on in South Africa that we don't necessarily have in America.
Okay.
And so when people ask her about like black stuff, she feels a little like out of the loop because she's not American black. She hasn't really experienced what American blacks have experienced in America, and she doesn't want to overstep. But then other people treat it like you should have something to say because
I get it. Yeah.
you look black. And so it is a complicated thing, and I guess they asked Spice about it. So here we go.
Even here in America, I hate the fact how they try to separate us. Because, for example, you get a form, it's asking if you're African American or black. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then when you're coming in now with, oh, you're mixed with white and you're colored or black, like, I just think we're all black.
Yeah.
That's just my views on it.
I agree.
I didn't know that there's like, I don't like the separation. I think if you're black, you're just black.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like the separation.
Yeah, it's just something that's really industry wide. People want to pick apart genetics. Like, you can't really do that shit in real time.
No.
It don't even make sense.
It don't even make
like,
sense.
If I could look at you and say, damn, you look black. You black to me.
You black. And just to raise another point quickly is the fact that it doesn't matter what race or where you're from, your ethnicity. It doesn't matter your nationality.
Yeah.
If you should receive like a racism or anything, nobody not going to stop and say, oh, which country you're from. They just see black.
Yeah.
They just see
a
black woman.
For sure.
So it doesn't matter if I was born in America or if I was born in Jamaica, I'm black.
Yeah.
All right. 0 to 100, Karen. Thoughts?
Oh, this gets a 0. I completely understand. And I do think that a lot of these are just names that people have, you know, we went from color to Negro to African, like we've changed quote unquote multiple names, but at the end of the day, you're black. And as somebody down in the South, ain't no division. They look at you, you are black. Ain't no, I'm Jamaican. Nope. They look at you, they not questioning your background, we're outing you. They don't give a fuck about none of that.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I don't think you can dismiss discussions about colorism, about, you know, the exceptionalism of being an exotic black that's not like these American blacks. I think all of that stuff exists. I think a lot of that is just different shades of white supremacy dominating discussions that are intra-community discussions, but it eventually, because we don't really have the language to truly encapsulate the nuances in a lot of these type of conversations that are happening on these podcasts and radio shows and on Twitter, we end up with kind of this paradigm that we use for whiteness. So whenever we have a discussion, it becomes, oh no, the white people in this are the light-skinned people. The white people in This are the black people that aren't from America that look down on black people who are from America and say we have no culture. And so because of that, we always end up in these very extreme situations of like, oh, people from this place that are black think they better than us. And honestly, that varies per person.
Yes,
That's honestly, there's no,
it varies per person.
Right. Just and then of course, whatever group you're in, you then do the opposite and go, we never do that. We're all great. Meanwhile, there's people that are black from America that go start shit with black people from other places all the time just to be like, for some reason, to discount their blackness, you know? So I do kind of understand, especially being from the South, I think me and you understand where Spice is coming from on a level of like, we didn't get the benefit, the luxury, the privilege, whatever you want to call it. We're not like if you grew up in like a New York or somewhere where it's like, oh, this is little Haiti, right, and this is Jamaica,
right,
and these people are from this place and that place, and they even maintain their accents and their traditions.
Yes.
A lot of stuff down here, because of just everything our ancestors had to survive and still survive in Jim Crow laws, we ended up getting grouped into basically black, not white, white.
Them are the three groups.
Those are the three groups down here. So a lot of stuff I learned about culture and people's, I got second, third hand through music and culture and entertainment and you know, or you just meet people and stuff. But I didn't get a lot of like growing up in these rich environments to see the differences, and even to see the differences in conflicts. We don't really have the time for the conflicts. You might have some, this person is light-skinned, like jokes or something, but in general, a light-skinned person down south, unless they're able to pass as white, they just end up getting called the N-word the same way I get called the N-word.
Yes, they do.
And it's like white supremacy ends up being this suffocating thing over the culture where the discussions don't happen, where people feel attacked if you're like, well, you know, there's some privileges that come with your lighter skin. It's like, but they calling me the N-word, they don't mess with me either. And it's like, well, I'm not saying you're not black. I'm not saying this ain't your home too. Just saying that there's, like, if the game level is 10 for me, then the game level is 6 for you, or 8 or 9. If it's even one less for you, that's all I'm acknowledging. And so you end up in these harsh discussions where people feel like they have to get defensive and be like, no, there is no difference. And so I think I have empathy and understanding, because I understand it's a complex topic that that, you know, we're asking everybody to fucking have an answer. And I know for a fact Spice isn't like on some bullshit, because she's had complex thoughts about colorism and stuff like that before in the past. So I'm not going to just throw her under the bus and be like, she should have said, like, hey, I understand it's hard. But I think these conversations will always make me feel fucked with to a certain extent. So I would say maybe 50, because there's no one who can encapsulate every point. I've watched people break down videos for an hour, and even in that hour, I still feel like, this kind of contradicted this other thing you said earlier, or you didn't bring up this thing, and that is a real thing. And it doesn't really serve any of us, because it's not like we're going to get to the bottom of it at any point. And people still don't understand that, like, individuals go through their individual lives, and they're going to have their individual feelings regardless of how you feel. Even if you had it worse, it doesn't mean another person didn't have anything bad happen to them. And a lot of times our discussions just can't handle that level of nuance. It can't wrap each other in brother and sisterhood. It just ends up becoming some type of like, well, which one of us had it worse? And if you don't say it's me, or you don't say that, you know, or you don't say I had a completely great life and I've never had any problems, and you're the one that has all the problems, and I'm sorry. Unless you say that, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't think human beings are set up to do that. But
no, they're not. And it's one of those things when, just like I said, I was really listening and trying to dissect it. So that's why my score is what it is. Yeah. Because like you, I understood where she was coming from. She wasn't saying anything anti-black. She didn't, you know, it's like for me, it's certain things that kind of raise flags when people start having these conversations. And Because truth be told, white supremacists has fucked up everybody. Everybody is sensitive to it and have their feelings and have experienced certain things, their proximity to whiteness, their non-proximity to whiteness, how they were raised, how, and all types of shit. So we're all going to have these different varying opinions about it.
Yeah, and in these discussions, people had because of their experiences, people go on the attack or on the defense. And that more than anything is what I've seen occur. And it's one of the reasons we don't really do a lot of those discussions. I understand I don't have the range. I'm not trying to, but the people that think they do have the range often come with this edge, and you see it, like light-skinned people that are determined to be like, I was picked on, you blacks was so mean, and you're like, okay, I don't go to therapy, but you can't have this conversation where you're attacking all of blackness,
right?
Basically letting whiteness off the hook. And then just turning this into like the black people are the real meanies, and then just ignoring everything that darker skinned black people go through. It's not worth it to engage with those people. And at the same time, I have seen people that if a light skinned person like, I got called an N-word today, and it's like, well, you light skinned, so, and it's like, okay, well you're not helping. Like to dismiss. That like they can never have any pain is also ridiculous, and I've seen that I've seen that in real time before, and I've always felt like, man, white people just got us messed up.
Yeah, it's to the point where we dismiss each other, and once we get to the point where we dismiss each other's pains, each other's hurt, all these different things that impact us, it's like all of a sudden the unity erodes.
Yeah, and I don't like to be cold, but this comes an age where it's like you gotta get over whatever it was.
Yes, you do.
I don't mean to be mean, but I say it to myself too. That's what therapy is for. It's not really for changing the world. It's for changing you and how you navigate the world, and so in a safer, more healthy place. Because a lot of this shit is like, motherfuckers still bringing us stuff from when they was 13. It's like, hey, the same way I feel about this girl cheated on me when I was 12. So now you're a womanizer. I feel like you should have figured that out before you got to 50, but yeah, I give it a 50. All right, let's see, what else do I want to do? Tomorrow is, of course, our Game of Thrones recap. Someone sent me a tweet like, don't forget tomorrow to say that when you do your recap that this thing happened and that thing happened, and I'm like, I'm already on top of it. How about y'all wait till we do the recap?
They is ready and excited.
Wait till we do the recap.
They're like, sir, don't forget. I'm listening. I'm here.
If I drop the ball on something, that's what the feedback is for. Like
That's hilarious.
All right. The feedback is for y'all after we do the review to be like, oh, you didn't mention this. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's
not beforehand.
Yeah, I want to do the work myself. I want to see how good a job I can do. I'm a human. I'm gonna miss something. I didn't read them damn books, so don't write in with no spoilers. But yeah, if I forgot to, oh damn, that's what that's when you write in. Right?
Hey, Rod, you forgot.
I was like, you doing some backseat
backseat drive? Yeah.
Come on now. Trust your boy. I ain't failed you this far. But yeah, it was something that was so obvious. Like, I've noticed it when it happened. I told Karen when we was on the couch. I was like, oh, that's the people from season 1. Remember that episode? It was just funny. Anyway, I'm glad y'all are excited about it.
Me too.
And I think we can wrap this up. I'm looking at these guest races. They okay. They not. We can do them a different day. We don't need to do them today. All right, let's get into sword ratchetness though. A man was arrested after allegedly making threats with a sword.
Oh.
Yeah. You don't want... Listen, let me tell you something. Don't do it.
Yes, don't do it.
And very rarely is the allegations not true. It's not like you... Like, oh, I thought he was making threats with the sword, but he was just waving it around because he was proud. According to a police report, a group of juveniles at Walmart said 3 men in a white Ford Fusion had threatened them in a parking lot around 7:30 p.m. The juvenile said the driver, later identified as Manuel Esquivel of Beatrice, got out of his vehicle and threatened them with brandishing a sword. While brandishing a sword, all 3 men got out the car and chased the juveniles into the store. Y'all grown. Y'all ain't got nothing better to do.
Nothing better to do, Sal.
Also, 3 grown-ass men drive around a car with a sword. Boy.
You don't get out of here.
Y'all going to Grayskull later? Later that evening, they going to the Soul Society?
Yeah, they is.
Later that evening, the police were dispatched to the Cassie's 116 North Street. Oh, I guess a different address, where another person reported being threatened with the sword by the same guy, Esquivel.
Did he yell Bunkai? What's happening here?
That person told the police that Esquivel and the 2 others with him said they would later return with guns.
Oh shit!
They literally brought sword to a gunfight. But what's interesting on this one is that them 2 dudes are still with him. Once you pop out on them with a sword and I'm in the car, that's the end of our friendship.
I will never speak to you again.
And this dude is a real hothead because he be pulling out that sword for everything.
Everything.
He like, oh, my took too long on my food. That's a sword.
Shing.
Cut me off in traffic. Got a sword for this.
Right. That's why some people don't need weapons.
Juveniles hanging out too close to my car. Well.
We know where to solve that problem.
Right. At 12:30 a.m. Saturday, police saw a white Ford Fusion and made a traffic stop. Esquivel was the driver. He and 2 other occupants got out the car. Damn, he got some ride or dies.
For real though.
Mario Esquivel and Cesar Balderrama, both of Beatrice, matched the descriptions from witnesses and from the security video at Walmart. A large sword was found in the vehicle. Oh, I'm thinking he did it.
You don't say. Not a large sword.
I'm starting to think the clues are adding up.
Somebody like that, they ain't gonna carry no small weapon.
I ain't sword CSI, but I feel like y'all got this man
out.
red-handed. Manuel Esquivel was arrested for terroristic threats and use of a weapon to commit a felony. The other 2 men were arrested for aiding and abetting terroristic threats. Well, you can do that shit in Westeros, but you can't just do that shit in America, bro.
Right.
All right, that's it for today's show. We'll be back tomorrow with your Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon recap, just like you like them. And if we dropped the ball, that's when you leave us feedback. Until next time, you know what, Karen?
What?
I finished the whole series of Worst Roommate Ever.
Okay.
And I just want you to know I appreciate you and I love you and thank you because you've been my only roommate I've had as an adult.
Mine too.
Not in college, and I lucked out. These motherfuckers is crazy.
Child, that's why I say something happened to one up. Nigga, I'm living by myself.
These motherfuckers is crazy. I don't know how y'all do it. I don't know how people do it.
People in the room. I was like, no, my husband, the only roommate I want. No.
I had to shoot one of these people.
What?
All right. Until next time, I love you.
I love you too.
Mwah. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.